Hi everyone, Phil Moulton here, hope everyone's well. Just an introduction to this wonderful place, which is Moulton House, just outside Edinburgh. We're going to be doing some filming today on etiquette training, which is going to incorporate close protection operators with the house staff as well. So a full day of different scenarios, inside and outside, and I'm going to be accompanied by another gentleman, which I'm going to introduce to you shortly. Thank you very much, Simeon, today for inviting us up to this wonderful place up in Edinburgh. You're going to be helping me develop the training courses for the etiquette training for household staff, working with the close protection industry. So we'll go through a few scenarios today. We've done a little bit of introduction. So tell me, how would this work in a wonderful environment like this if we were a CP team, or close protection team, bodyguard team, within the household staff? How could we work together?
Well, the thing is, there's so many moving parts within the team. There's so much going on. We've got so many different teams here. We've got gardeners, we've got butlers, we've got housekeeping staff, we've got so many different people. They've all got a job to do. And then, of course, we've got our clients, and they need to feel at home. They need to feel relaxed. They don't want to feel like they're living in a policed state. So we really need to make sure that all those elements can work well together. And you know, that's what this training is all about, is to make that a smooth running operation.
So on our close protection side of it, we can brief the house staff on certain protocols without infringing on the security side of it, because we don't want to double up on the duties. And we don't want to replace a close protection operator with somebody who does gardening. So we've got to make that quite clear before we start. So basically it's more about awareness, about conducting yourself in social circles as this. So we're going to be coming to the house staff, to the PAs and we're going to be using what we call the 7 Ps. When we're finding out about the personality of the principal we're looking after, the places, the people that are associated in this lovely area. So you're going to be one of our main contacts, or the main person will be our main contact where we're getting that information. So how could we develop that, and how could we work with that?
Well, one of the things that all CP, all executive protection, what they all need to know is that the head butler, the sort of major domo, the PA, these people are there to help them. You know, they are the oracle of information. They know everything. They probably know more about the principal than the principal's own family.
Exactly. So that's why it's important for us to work together to build that working relationship. We're not stepping on each other's toes.
No, absolutely not.
We're trying to help each other to make the job more safe for the principal to feel more comfortable. So it's an endless stream of how it works.
Exactly. It's incredibly important that everyone gets on within that scenario, in that relationship. And it's one of the things that over the years, to be honest, it's one of the things I've seen fall down the most. Because you've got a CP team and you've got the household team. And there seems to be a big gulf between the two. They won't ask them questions other than can I have a cup of tea, and they won't ask them questions other than who's going with Sir today.
So it's all about communication.
Communication is key.
So today what we're going to work on is communication skills, working off each other's other skills as well, because you've got skills that we haven't got and we've got skills that you haven't got, and again going back to that and enforcing that. We're not replacing the bodyguard with the house staff.
Absolutely
and
not.
Vice versa.
No.
We're just making it work seamlessly so everyone's happy, and at the end of the day it's a nice seamless job. Principal's happy and everyone goes home safe.
Exactly, and everyone gets a nice easy life.
Good enough. That's smashing.
Right, so Phil, here we are at the beautiful drawing room at Moulton House. Now, we have some very high-level guests, and they have very high-level meetings, and it's really important that they're not overheard, they're not recorded, anything like that. So what can we do to ensure that doesn't happen?
Firstly, it's working together as a team, finding out what the meeting is, where the meeting is going to be held, how many people are going to be attending, we don't really need to know the agenda because that's obviously private confidential. So we're looking at trying to secure with the information before we come into the room. So we're doing our background work. Once we've cleared the information, we've got the information to hand, then we would actually do a physical search, making sure that once we've searched it, the room stays completely sterile, nobody enters. We've got a number of rooms, so we'd have to make sure that they're locked off. If the fire doors, we'd have to observe fire evacuation procedures. But in purposes like this, we would have bits of kit that we've brought, and I've brought a few pieces of equipment that I used to work with in my time. So we've got a listening device, or how it's going to find listening devices. Now what this will do, it will actually pick up frequencies. The frequencies then are then for us to identify what that is. So what we would be doing is isolating all the electricity in here, making sure there's no power on whatsoever. So every plug socket will be switched off, plugs unplugged, so they're not plugged in at all, because we've actually come across that in a hotel before. And then we systematically start at one point and then all the way around. And obviously what we're looking at is the high sides of it as well, where people can hiding and listening devices behind curtains, behind the pictures. So we'd have to itemise it. And the best thing to do is when you first come in, take a photograph. So you've got a visual of what you need to check. So you can verify what's in there, what should not be there. If I can give one instance, and that will probably give you a good idea. We've got a plug socket over there, which has been pat tested. On a large hotel that I had to search them on occasion, we had to search a penthouse. So the giveaway was, there was an extension lead that was plugged in to a plug socket. It wasn't pat tested. So when we tested it, we found a SIM card in there. So that had compromised the whole suite. And that was passed on obviously to the hierarchy, but it's knowing what you're looking for. Simple giveaway things like that, but making sure that you know who you're reporting it to, because you may be reporting it to the person who's planted it, because sometimes you can have a threat from within. So you're looking at, first of all, intelligence driven reasons why we're doing that, the background, visual by pictures, videos, etc. Very simple to do, but then systematically doing that search, and then working with the staff can say, I've never seen that before, I've never seen that there before. So again, it's working with people so you're getting a background of what's going on.
I mean, I can imagine that, because if very much for stuff like you describe an extension lead there, if someone knew to look out for something that was unusual or strange, they would definitely know, that the housekeeper would definitely think, well, that's not usually there.
Yeah, it was a block. Do you remember the old three-way block?
Yeah.
And it was plugged into the. There was no plugs going into it apart from that was plugged into the wall. We did find coax, so that suggested to us that there was hardwired. And when we questioned people about it, there was no hardwired being done. So it was an inside job. I won't disclose where it was, but it was a large hotel. So sometimes the threat can come from within, selling information. And again, if you look at it, it's a point of espionage, really. So it's working together, securing it, but having the blessing of the hierarchy, the people you're working with, if you're the head person on there, getting your cooperation to assist you as well. So it's all teamwork, communication, but it's key to communicate with people.
Excellent. Well, that's a lot to look for.
Okay, so if we was using this, what this would do is, if I switch it on, you'll see the light popping on, and it works off two ways. It works off vibration, and then it will work off picking up the signal. So if that picks up something, what will happen is the red light will flash, or that will, as you can see, I'm not touching it, and you can see it wobbling, the aerial. So that's picking up, see the tiny, the vibration. So if I move that towards a camera, it will move even more because it's picking up the radio signals. So what you're actually doing, you're cutting out, and I don't want to go into too much, you're cutting out all the electricity to then find out, right, where's this coming from, because you will pick up electricity from a lamp which goes outside, but if your mobile phone goes off, that will give it a different frequency. So no one has radios, no one has mobile phones. It's like when you're doing a vehicle search, no communications for obvious reasons as well, because that could actually set something off. So there you go, quick 2 minutes.
Excellent.
But this piece of kit was used for national football team security. That was one of my tasks to do, to make sure that it wasn't compromised. Listening in on different parts of information of team briefings. Everything's valuable. Information is valuable. So working with the inside team is a must, and communications is vital. Principle first, make sure the door's open. Okay, person waiting there to receive us. Doors opening. Okay, now from here we've got a different view because the door's open, we're quite far away. So our job is now to protect us. So Ricardo there would be covering my arc on this side. We'd have another person on there covering that side. The principal comes out. So as the principal's getting out the vehicle, obviously you won't wave them on. You're moving the VIP in. Then your advanced person could then go straight forward. So if we're bringing our VIP out, what we would be doing, if you'd have a residential team for such an area like this, we'd be looking at all the main vulnerable points. And as you've identified, there's a number of vulnerable points which need to be secured. That's going to come down to budget. Remember, we can only do things if we've got the people to afford to do it. Your main contact points on something like this will be somebody coming out these areas, the hidden areas, but also we've got to secure the main entrance and exit. So we'd have a gate guard on there making sure, and they would be communicating with us on a constant basis to make sure that the road's clear for us to leave. That's our, before we get our VIP out, that needs to be checked, and it needs to make sure that it's cleared and steriled. If we have a canine, or if we have we've got a drone up in the air, so that drone is absolutely perfect because they can show the whole area, and it's going to cut down on a lot of manpower, but you can't beat that, can't deal with an issue. That can just give you observations. So what we would be looking at would basically securing locations. So we're using the people that we've got, like the butlers, the house staff, not to get rid of any security. They're there to support us and work us. So it's having that observation skills and being aware of what you should be doing as security. Because if we're safe, you're safe. That's a simple thing. So if we're now going to bring the VIP forward, we will get clearance from the main gate to make sure that we're ready to leave and we're cleared and there's nothing causing obstruction. Because the worst thing that could happen, VIP gets in the vehicle ready to go, we drive down, the gate is then obstructed by somebody. That's got to be cleared. So before you come out, that's got to be cleared by your resident security team. You could even have a covert surveillance and they're watching for people watching us. It could be going on and on and on, depending on what the threat is. And again, we can only get that information once we've spoken to the VIP. We would be getting the clearance to say that we're happy, that it's clear to come through. Ricardo, your eyes all the way round. So again, you're the last point of contact. So as I'm coming out the door, my main focus is making sure that there's no problems. So they get the earpiece, we're talking. As we're coming through, you're still looking, constantly looking. VIP's getting in. The insert, opening this door, keeping the door nice and widely open. Again, people will do it differently. And then we're off. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to cover something that happens quite regular. Ricardo, when you're ready. Okay, so you get yourself out, open the door, as you normally do, pop the door open, and your VIP is sat there on their mobile phone. How do you deal with this? This is one of the main things that you look at having problems, is communicating. So before you start the job, you're communicating, you're not setting ground rules up, you're making the job smoother for everyone. So basically you would have any instructions beforehand. So on the course we're going to be covering areas such as this. Okay, thank you so much.